Good afternoon, everyone. I hope you're doing great today. I am Angelica Bahinting, and I would like also to introduce my partner, Miss May Mangonaon. For this afternoon, we will be going to discuss the Loden's diversity wheel. So our objectives for today is to demonstrate the use of Loden's wheel of diversity, gives an overview of the dimensions of diversity, and students will develop a greater understanding of themselves and the human differences they embody. Do you know what is Loden's diversity wheel all about? Who developed the Loden's diversity wheel? So first, let us discover who are those people. It's Marilyn Loden and Judy Rosner in the year of 1990. They are the creator of the model. They saw that people need a tool to help better understand how group-based differences contribute to people's social identities. They wanted to identify the differences that make a major difference, to show which dimensions of diversity are important in people's lives, acknowledge their power so that people who wanted to talk about them would be supported by the model. Loden has always believed it was more important to emphasize key group-based differences that are present and powerful throughout people's lives. Loden's depiction of important group-based differences was the diversity wheel. It represents the various dimensions of diversity within individual and instructions. It is a model that pointed to what is core to our social identities, the ways in which people derive a sense of self when identifying with certain groups. Her model, the diversity wheel, has become the lingua franca for defining what is meant by the word diversity. Diversity is about what makes each of us unique. The wheel consists of two circles, the primary or the core dimensions and secondary dimensions of diversity. The category suggests how much influence these differences exert on a person's beliefs, expectations, and life experiences. She described the primary or the core dimensions as the most powerful and sustaining differences, ones that usually have an important impact on us throughout our lives. It found an inner embedded sphere in which we, as humans, do not have any control since they are part of our diversity. In the original model, Loden presented 6 primary dimensions that help shape our basic self-image and our worldviews. These are the age, sexual orientation identity, ethnicity, race, gender, and physical abilities or qualities. These are the 6 primary dimensions that we don't have control as a human. Alam niyo ba kung bakit? Simple lang. Una sa age, hindi mo masasabi na bata ka pa kung senior citizen ka na. Hindi mo maluloko ang mga tao. Hindi mo ito matatago kasi sa itsura mo pa lang halata na. Pangalawa naman sa sexual orientation, hindi mo mapipilit ang sarili mo na magmahal ng iba. Ma-attract sa iba, tama ba? Kahit gaano pa ka-perfect ang taong yan, hindi mo mapipilit na magustuhan siya. Kasi maaaring sa ibang gender ka na-attract at hindi sa opposite gender mo. Ang sexual orientation kasi is kung saan ka na-attract. Baka sa tagal na panahon, hindi ka pa rin na-attract sa opposite gender mo. Kasi isang araw, nakaramdam ka na lang ng pagkagusto sa same gender mo. Yan yung dahilan kung bakit wala tayong kontrol kasi hindi natin mapipili kung sino ang taong magugustuhan natin. Pangatlo naman ay ang ethnicity. Kung saan ka nagmula, yun ka rin. Ibig sabihin, kung ang parents mo ay Mandaya, hindi, Mandaya ka rin. Hindi mo maiaalis ang pagiging Mandaya mo kasi yun ang ethnicity nyo. Pang-apat naman ay ang race. Tayong mga Pilipino ay belong sa brown race. Panglima ay ang gender. Gender is all about who you are. Either male, female, or genderqueer. Ibig sabihin ng genderqueer ay anumang gender bukod sa pagiging babae at lalaki. And the last one is the physical abilities or qualities. We don't choose our physical abilities. We're either born able-bodied or not. May pinanganak na malakas ang physical na kakayahan, meron din namang mahina. Iba-iba tayo. Hindi magkaparehas ang mga physical qualities natin. And that's all my report. I will end now my discussion about the primary dimensions of Loden's diversity wheel. The secondary dimensions of diversity will be discussed by Miss May.
A pleasant day, everyone. I am Mangonaon. Now, I will continue the discussion about Loden's diversity wheel. So now let's proceed to the second dimension, which is located in the outer circle. So these characteristics are also part of our social identity, but remember that it can change or discarded as our life experience. So other important differences that are acquired later in life and presumably have less influence in defining who we are. So it influenced by people we encounter, places we go to or live in, and even our experience we go through. So as you can see in the PPT, the second dimension is composed of communication style and the skills, appearance, political ideology, the marital status, functional specialty, military experience, the job classification, native born or even the non-native, religious belief, socio-economic status, thinking styles, the geographic location, parental status, even the education, creed, and also the work background. So those mentioned are truly affect our whole lives because it is our experience that also affect our personal ability and even our social identity. So to fully understand the whole concept of Loden's diversity wheel, I will show you the diversity wheel adapted from Loden's on 1996. So as you can see, we have here a legend which symbolizes its meaning. So first is the violet color, which is core to a person. From the word core, it means a center na naikintal na sa atin, which is mahirap na siya alisin. But remember din na there are some core na maaring change because of the influence of the other and the society as well. So in the illustration, so at the center part, we have here the age, so or even so the edad. For example, is no matter how many skincare we will use, if we already 30 or 40 years old, hindi na yun mababago. Why? Because we are born na hindi magstay sa kung ano yung edad natin. But as years goes by, is madagdagan at madagdagan talaga yung age natin. Next is the ethnicity. So when we talk about ethnicity, no matter how many places we go to or live in, or magkakaroon pa tayo doon na tinatawag lang green flag sa places na yon, but if we are born being a Filipino and lumaki tayo dito sa Pilipinas, is mananatili pa rin yung pagiging Filipino natin. So yun yung ibig sabihin nun. Next is, so let's move on now in the color blue, which is still a core, but remember it can change. So first we have this, the religious and beliefs. So like me, I was born Catholic, but now it changes because I am now a member of Iglesia ni Cristo. So kung noon we celebrate or nagse-celebrate or naniniwala kami sa Pasko, but now hindi na. So same lang din ito sa gender natin. So if we born as male and female, but you grew up na feeling mo na in contrast or different ito sa identity mo, so decided to go on procedure to change your private part into male to female or even female to male. So sa first dimension na ito, we need to put in mind the characteristics we born with and the attributes in places. Now let's forward into the third part, which is ito yung color green na, which is life experience that make us different and unique. So first is our standard of living. So in our previous life, kung mahirap tayo, but ngayon nagiging mayaman tayo, or pwede ding mayaman tayo noon, then now is nagiging mahirap na. Of course, pag ganyan, our standard of living is affected because we experience the life which is different sa kung ano man ang nakasanayan natin noon. So, the next one is itong cultural heritage. So, we all know that our Muslim brother and sister have their different culture. So, kailangan natin as human beings is kailangan natin ma-accept natin iyon, because as what many people say, that no matter what your culture is, as long as we have respect, nandun yung respeto, mananatili pa rin yung bond or yung samahan natin sa isa't isa. So another one also is the qualification. So dito commonly nangyayari ito sa job field. So before entering the job, mayroon silang binibigay na qualification hinihingi. So you don't have a right to say na okay, ganyan, you are old or young pa to enter this job because hindi mo na kaya, or hindi mo pa kaya, or hindi mo na kaya itong ganitong trabaho. Or another issue also is that judging the capability of being a girl and boy. Kasi ganito, if you are feminine, your work must feminine job also. So this experience is unique, which is kailangan need to accept siya, so that in some situation hindi siya magiging barrier, o at marami to, such as type of education, community status, roles in family, and many more na makikita ninyo dito sa illustration. Now the last part is the factor that makes society unequal. So indeed, the dilemma of diversity. So we have here the discrimination issues around race, gender, age, and intellect still, but in spite of characters, laws, and policies that upholds diversity. We have also the stereotyping, the discrimination on gender and religion for the applied position, harassment, and the prejudice. So therefore, we have to understand the importance of recognizing that disability is part of our diversity. So diversity should be perceived a positive component that can contribute to any progress and productivity, and uphold their individuality and the uniqueness. Now let's forward here to Loden's advice for using the model. So Loden's first piece of advice to people using the model is to open up the diversity conversation so that everyone at the table can identify with some dimensions. So Loden's defines RICR as first the respect. So when we talk about respect, so I know at your age today, at our age today, maturity will know what it is, right? So treating others as they wish to be treated. So in Loden's perception, it is kind of you get what you give. So for example, in biblical pace, it state there, what you sow is what you reap. So kung ano yung itinanim mo, iyon din ang yung aanihin. So respect means doing what you desire to be treated, but if the other person will already treat you. So if you wanted to have kindness to be given to you, will you definitely have to be kind towards the other person, right? So if it is a good karma in thought, a golden rule, a root of all goodness. So don't forget the respect. Next is the inclusions. So inclusions, making certain everyone on the team is truly a part of the team decision making process. So in group, you will group on your abilities, beliefs, intelligence. So how inclusion possible regardless of your diversity in your group of circles. So of course, it is a way of opening others' opinion during a time that you need to decide on something. So you can ask suggestions each of your group mates. Then later on, after you have solicited each one opinion, it's time for you to brainstorm all of that idea. So that actually inclusive by nature. So you make everyone feel that his thought or opinion matters. So next is the third, the cooperations. So cooperation, actively helping others succeed rather than competing or attempting to one up someone. So it is a desire to assist someone to make a milestone, perhaps of her academic standing. So here, competition is actually out. Wala na siya. Or off in the bounds of cooperation. So the assistance and help is more important values and virtue here that can offer. um and the last one is the responsibility, managing personal behavior to maintain a diversity positive environment, and questioning inappropriate behavior when it occurs. So when you manage personally your behavior, we are able to maintain diversity positive environment. So in conclusion to this topic, by using this diversity wheel, we can consider how different aspects, spiritual beliefs, and even our cultural differences may form other people's identities and uh, perspectives also in the world. So, knowing all this should give us an open and more accepting stance on variety and opinions and differences, also the behavior. So, that's all, and thank you for listening.